Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a massive cornerstone of modern economics, the mechanics, and frankly, the universally accepted benefits of progressive taxation. If you've ever looked at a tax bracket and thought, wait, why exactly is it set up like this? Well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the actual logic public finance authorities use to design these systems.
It really all kicks off with one big, highly debated question, one that sits right at the absolute center of public finance. Should higher earners pay a higher percentage of their income in taxes? Notice I didn't just say more money overall, but an actually larger slice of their entire pie. It's literally the core dilemma of balancing everyday fairness with raw economic function.
Okay, let's dive into this. Progressive taxation is, by definition, a system where the rate of taxation increases as the taxpayer's income increases. It's fundamentally different from a flat tax, where everyone just pays the exact same rate, or a regressive tax that hits lower incomes harder. In a progressive setup, the rate scales up right along with your earnings. Let's anchor this in reality for a second. Imagine someone making 5 lakhs a year. Under this kind of system, they might be taxed at a 10% rate. Okay, simple enough. Now, compare that to someone pulling in 20 lakhs a year. Their tax rate doesn't just stay at 10%. Instead, it jumps up to 30%. Yep, 30%. That jump is the absolute key here. As the income goes up fourfold, from 5 lakhs to 20 lakhs, the tax rate actually triples. So the liability increases not just in sheer rupees, meaning, the physical check they write to the government is bigger, but it increases as a total proportion of their income. Keep that 20 lakh earner paying 30% right in the back of your mind, because it's our mental anchor for understanding the benefits we're about to unpack. So, where do we go from here? There are 5 universally accepted advantages to this system: tax equity, reducing inequality, revenue elasticity, revenue productivity, and economical collection. We're going to shift from looking at social justice straight through to pure administrative logic. Let's start with number 1, Advantage 1, tax equity. Equity in public finance doesn't mean every single person pays the exact same amount. It actually means creating an equitable and just distribution of the tax burden. The logic is that by putting a heavier load on the rich, like handing that 30% rate to our 20 lakh earner instead of the 10% rate, the system properly accounts for their ability to pay. It basically puts a relatively higher strain on the folks who have more abundant resources, which economists universally accept as a just, fair way to fund public authorities. Moving right along, Advantage 2, reducing inequality. What this tells us is that progressive taxation isn't just some passive tool for scraping together government funds. No, it's an active mechanism designed to reshape the economic landscape. By taking a progressively larger percentage from the highest earners, the system is actively working to reduce the gaps in national income and wealth. It's essentially an economic equalizer, actively narrowing that big divide between the top brackets and everyone else in society. Now, what's really interesting about this next concept is the shift to sharp economic pragmatism. Advantage 3, revenue elasticity. Elasticity, at least in this context, is all about how responsive a tax system really is. Say a government suddenly needs to fund some massive public expenditures. We're talking defense, big infrastructure projects, or public health emergencies. They need a system that can flex with them. With a progressive structure, if they just adjust the tax rates upwards, the government's revenue increases substantially and automatically. It is a highly elastic tool. It lets a state quickly, efficiently scale up its resources whenever a major need arises. Next up, Advantage 4, revenue productivity. So, this one is closely related to elasticity, but it's distinctly different. While elasticity is all about manually adjusting the rates, productivity is about what happens totally naturally as an economy grows. When you see spikes in national income, meaning more folks are earning more money and climbing up into those higher brackets, just like our 20 lakhs earner, well, more tax revenue is automatically pulled in. The government doesn't even have to lift a finger to pass new laws or raise rates. That natural increase in national income just automatically funnels more revenue straight to the state. And finally, we arrive at Advantage 5, economical collection. Honestly, this might be the most heavily practical point of the whole bunch. Progressive taxes are incredibly economical to actually run. Just think about it for a second. The administrative cost, the paperwork, the sheer processing power it takes to collect a 10% tax from our 5 lakh year earner, it is essentially the exact same amount of work as it is to collect a 30% tax from our 20 lakh year earner. The government captures a significantly higher amount of revenue from those wealthier brackets, but the administrative cost of collecting it stays completely flat. It is the ultimate definition of maximum yield for flat effort. So let's bring this all together real quick. Progressive taxation is universally accepted as desirable because it reliably hits 5 vital targets. It provides tax equity by shifting the burden to folks who can actually bear it. It actively reduces inequality in wealth. It offers incredible elasticity for governments needing to adjust rates. It ensures productivity as national incomes naturally grow over time. And it delivers true economy, maximizing that revenue without inflating the actual cost of collection. Which leaves us with one final, pretty profound thought to chew on. Is progressive taxation the ultimate tool for balancing economic stability and civic duty? It's a big question, and honestly, it's one that defines exactly what kind of society a state is trying to build. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will definitely see you next time.